worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. Jaime En Fuego here, welcoming you to my namesake program, Enfuegotainment. That's right, you can just call me Fuego for short, and I'm so stoked to have you here for another Fresca Fuego review. Yes, and this one being for the newest entry from Illumination. That's right, The Secret Life of Pets 2, and as you've possibly seen if you've checked out any of my previous reviews here, or even before I took the year-plus sabbatical from this channel, I reviewed Minions and some other animated stuff, and yeah, that's because I like this sort of you know, slightly edgy animated. I mean, it's just PG, but it's not G, so you know, it's not like quite the Disney, but also in a lot of ways it doesn't often have the sophistication of a Disney, and you know, I don't know, for better or for worse. And I just recently watched the first Secret Life of Pets, and I was like, it's okay. You know, not too shabby, I suppose. Decent voice cast as you often have with these, but well, here on Enfuegotainment, I always do a little bit of bueno, malo, and feo, so good, bad, and ugly. That is the trope that I approach these reviews with. And, you know, I must say bueno is once again the returning voice cast here, but especially for me, Kevin Hart, man. Kevin Hart as this Snowball, this crazy bunny rabbit, man. His character is developed so much more amusingly in this, because at the end of the previous one, he ends up teaming up with Max, our like kind of lead dog, and you know, I guess whereas there was like a decent message in the previous one about how you need to be accepting of, you know, new members of your family, and you know, I guess animals that are different than you and whatever, but really I didn't think it was written too incredibly well. It was very tropey, and it just really boiled down to, okay, you know, the one girl dog liked Max, you know, he gets taken in by dog nappers or whatever, that, you know, taken into the pound, and then she has to mobilize, you know, different animals to rescue him. But really, it just, I don't know, this one is written a lot better, and I felt like had a much better message of just, you know, trying to overcome your fears and accept change in your life and stuff like that. And they kind of beat you over the head with the message, like just, you know, every cross T and dotted lowercase j. But yeah, nonetheless, I did feel like there was, you know, some good messages to say. But this was just the writing I thought was a lot more clever and a lot more funny, especially some of the scenarios that we have developed in this, because it really does boil down to an A story, a B story, and a C story. And so Max, our main doggy, you know, who seems to be getting along better with this dog which was brought home, and you know, he didn't like in the previous movie, but now they're buds. And the family has grown, and now there's like this little boy, and his master has a significant other now, and you know, so a real family unit has been put together, and he seems to be getting along, you know, with Snowball, and you know, oh god, TD as he calls him, Tiny Dog. Kevin Hart's funny in this movie, man. Like, he's really funny, and the scenario that he finds himself in is where his, you know, his master, I guess, the little girl, she's basically raising him to be this, like, little pseudo-superhero, and some of his just fantasy sequences, one in particular that's, like, 2D animation, is just terrifically awesome, and this fake video game that he's playing where it's like a pseudo Wolverine beating up like a pseudo Sentinel. It's like, he's got some funny stuff, and there's a post-credits, well, I guess a mid-credits you would say, with him, where he has this rap song, and he like puts on like, and he's like straight up like Biggie Smalls kind of stuff, and it's so funny. It's like he steals the attire from this panda. And so all of the stuff with him trying to be this superhero, and his interaction with Tiffany Haddish, I think is her name. She's voicing this dog named Daisy, who's a new character to this film, and they have some fun interplay. And also, what is her name? Dixie, I want to say, maybe. She's voiced by Jenny Slate, who's also really good in this and very funny, just like she was in the previous one. Lake Bell is also funny, although not used quite as much as the animal that she is. Boy, I want to say she plays the cat that at one point is tripping out after having the catnip. And that's the thing. Some of the humor for the adults in this I thought was better than in the previous entry. You know, it was bueno. You know, and the music choices are definitely nods to the adults. You know, the catnip part. You know, the cat is tripping out on the White Rabbit song. You know, by none other than Jefferson Airplane. The one pill makes you smaller. Blah blah blah. I shouldn't sing that because I'll get hit with some stupid copyright shizzle. But yeah, so funny scenarios there. The amusing scenarios with Dixie having to go and rescue this toy from this cat lady who has like dozens of cats, and the toy falls into their hands, and then all the stuff with Snowball, Kevin Hart's character as this pseudo superhero, trying to save the day with Daisy. Weird circus subtext zone. I'll get to that in the Malo and the Feo. But yeah, I thought the writing was stronger. I thought it was funnier. I thought the message was better. So as a whole, I enjoyed this like leaps and bounds in comparison. And then like the other post-credit bit that was really just, well, you know what? I'll say that for I'll say that for ugly. But so there is some Malo, and one Malo that I will say is that nonetheless, at the end of the day, Illumination for me is like the third tier of the popularly released animated stuff. I mean, you've got Pixar and then a lot of what Disney does at the top of the totem pole. And then next is probably DreamWorks, you know, who did the Shrek stuff and How to Train Your Dragons. And then, you know, Illumination, for my money, a lot of the time is third tier. And you really feel it especially in the third act. And the third act gets way too over the top and just kind of reverts to the just too silly, just out of reality stupidity that we got at the end of the first film. And it wasn't until the very end where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is another Secret Life of Pets. But I mean, it was good, especially when, I mean, just, you know, you had just the third story that I didn't mention is the fact that, you know, Max and the other dog, Duke, I believe the name is, yeah, they end up going on this family trip out to the country, so they leave New York City. And that is bad that I was disappointed that we didn't get a lot of a voice. I was very surprised to hear. We have Harrison Ford in this, voicing this like country dog named Rooster. And he's great. Like, he has some very choice, amusing lines, and I had to wait till the credits at the end just to, you know, see him. Like, is that Harrison Ford? And sure enough, it was. So bad for me is that he was underutilized, and there was other, you know, other voice actors underutilized. But you really do feel, especially as the movie is wrapping up, that okay, this is definitely an Illumination film who were responsible for like. I like the Despicable Me's. I mean, I think the second one especially was the one that I really dug. But like the Minions movie and just, I don't know, some of the other stuff they do just feels very, very subpar to me as far as this mainstream, very slightly PG animated stuff type. I mean, really nobody beats Pixar at the end of the day, in my estimation. I'm really curious to see I'm really curious to see if a fourth Toy Story is necessary. You're going to be seeing a review of that coming very soon. So that's Malo. And then, but not really as much of the Malo here. Not as much bad or just, you know, I mean, yeah, it was significantly improved in the writing department and the humor department in comparison with the first one. Feo, though. The first Feo I have to mention, first ugly, is the fact that we had to swap out our main voice actor for this. Yeah, so Louis C.K., who was in the original one, you may or may not know how ugly his personal life has been since a bunch of stuff came out about him and some treatment of women, exposing himself, and just being kind of a creep. And then also, at the end of the day, not really showing any remorse in the press or on stage as a stand-up about it. He's almost like embraced it and, you know, just been seemingly cool, despite the fact that, you know, he's got to be disappointed about his sitcom on FX being canceled and about losing all these other jobs and opportunities and stuff. But I guess some good did come out of the ugly in the fact that I really enjoyed Patton Oswalt stepping in for the Max voice work. He sounds a little bit different, obviously, but this was an ugly that kind of turned into a bueno, which is something I mentioned here on this show quite a few different times because it can happen. But the real ugly, like the ugly that is ugly, and just like the third act of this movie, there is a like the main villain is this circus like trainer, you know, who's voiced by Nick Kroll of all people, and I love me some Kroll show and pretty much anything Nick Kroll has done. He's so funny. But Yeah, there's some themes that may be a little bit. I mean, they're played so much for laughs, maybe, but there may be parents who are like, okay, you know, tigers getting abused by trainers. That's ugly, obviously, and some really young kids may find that upsetting. And then also, he's like pulling guns on the animals at the end, and then yet he gets comically run over by the grandma cat lady. You know, and she's driving around at night with her big super sunglasses on, which are, it's funny, but I mean, I don't know, it was just a little too ugly with if you have very, very young kids, with the suggestion of certain kinds of violence and harm being inflicted on these animals and stuff. But once again, it's played so much for laughs. I'm not a parent, so I mean, does my opinion really matter that much? I mean, but I have, you know, I have 3 nieces, you know, I have a very young nephew, I have a lot of friends with kids, and so, I don't know, man. I guess if there's one other ugly that I can mention, and it's an ugly that just really teared me up, man, made me a little sad, is that, yeah, I lost well, I didn't lose, I basically, when a relationship ended, lost my dog in, like, the pseudo division of properties in a lot of ways, despite the fact that I bought the dog, and that's neither here nor there. But there's some credit stuff at the end where it's just actual live action, like just little vignettes, little, like, you know, 5-10 second bits of these kids with their animals, and you know, there's like this one boy dancing with his dog, and the dog's like kind of moving around with him, and it's super cute. There's another one with this toddler like standing on the back of the dog trying to get a boost up to get into the refrigerator, and just super cute stuff like that. It made me miss my Luna. So yeah, maybe this is gonna spur me to get another animal again, but damn it, I'm just not home enough, and that wouldn't be fair to an animal for, you know, like too much secret life of, like, that's the theme of the Secret Life of Pets, right, is when the animals are left alone at home, and I feel bad for animals that are left unattended for these lengthy periods of time, because I don't think it's very fair to them. So, am I wrong? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, should Fuego get another animal. But I miss my miniature pinscher, damn it. I never thought I'd love a little dog. But at the end of the event, yes, I guess that's going to be the end of the proceedings for today, with me giving this a final score of, it's in between 3 and 4 Fuego approved fireballs of you know, desert dweller, you know, scorching heat goodness. It is June here in the deadly desert of Arizona now. But I'm going to say this one's Fuego. I feel like, especially Kevin Hart's character and how much he made me laugh in this, and the added heart within this, I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say this is Fuego. This is Fuego this might be my favorite of the Illumination films that I've seen, actually. And that's a bold declaration coming from me, who's not been the biggest fan. Although I haven't seen Sing, and a lot of people tell me Sing is pretty good. I think that's Illumination, maybe. But in any event, so yeah, that gets 4. This is a Fuego film. Certified Fuego. Hashtag Certified Fuego. So I have been Jaime En Fuego. You can find me on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Obviously here on YouTube, where if you haven't done the like and share and subscribe thing, and hit the bell to get notifications about any time I put up new content, please do. Porfa y gracias. It would mean a significant deal for me as I'm trying to march toward a GC subscriber-wise and actually get access to a lot of additional features available on YouTube, like actually being able to monetize and really start doing a live show properly, which is the inevitable goal, you know, besides just doing a couple different videos weekly, because I really like having that live interaction in a chat with viewers and stuff like that. And I love talking about movie news, and it's something that I do from time to time on my other gig, the Horror Show channel at youtube.com/the Horror Show channel. But nonetheless, yeah, I just love, I love talking about, you know, cinema and television and just, you know, this sort of creativity in general. I've also been doing complete canon coverage for Star Wars this year. So I've been doing one of the films proper a month, but then I started watching the Clone Wars show, so there's going to be some reviews of those seasons coming very soon. We're still not to the original trilogy era, so I'm trying to get all the prequel coverage done here in the coming days, or coming like month or so. Later this month, Rogue One is going to be the review, but yeah, reviews of the prequel trilogy as well as the Clone Wars film and a few Marvel comics like Darth Maul, Master and Apprentice, which is a new Claudia Gray book. I reviewed that, as well as the Count Dooku Audible, which was really cool. And yes, also coming very soon, Age of Republic villains and heroes, and then also oh boy, there's a Mace Windu miniseries. There is Obi-Wan and Anakin miniseries. Those are all from Marvel Comics, and more novels to read as well that I'm very excited to get started on. So I guess that's going to be the end of the proceedings for today. I greatly appreciate anyone who stopped by once again, and I guess I'm going to end with my tropey finale and say until the real of Ka, haha, comes around once more. Hasta luego, Cinemigos, but I'm hopeful that we get to reconnect sooner rather than later. Peace.